Welcome back, guys, to another video here at Hostways Exotics. Today is another awesome Sunday here making videos for you guys, producing content. Today we're gonna have an awesome jam-packed video full of venomous snakes, and we're gonna also be working on this new four-wheeler that we picked up for free. And I'm gonna show you guys how to restore it, and we're gonna be using it to trail out here into the woods and get a little bit further down into the woods out here and try to find us some new snakes and things like that later on this year. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Gonna be a lot of awesome stuff coming here pretty soon, so let's get into it. So how the heck is everybody, man? I hope everybody's been doing good here at the 4th of July. It's like the Sunday afterwards, so it's a couple days past, but I hope everybody's safe, had a good 4th of July nonetheless. And let's go ahead and we'll get down to business as usual. So head on into the reptile room. I got my coffee cup with me, and we gotta cut some lights on in here, obviously, because it's a little on the low side. Maybe our camera will adjust for us. We got our snakes and everything. Let me get you guys set on the tripod real quick. I'm gonna kind of get on in here. I kind of wanted to give a little bit more of a live style video for you guys, really see what's going on here at the old Hostways Exotics. So what'd you guys do for the 4th? Comment down below, you know what I mean? Because I didn't really do a whole lot. We did a little bit of fireworks. I did post a little YouTube short for you guys. So, you know, there's a little something to appease you guys and keep you guys interested in what we got going on here. So we'll give you guys a little bit of a rundown on some of the snakes and show you what exactly we're going to be cleaning today. Now that we got all the lights, and look at that, we're all in here. So I got to change a couple settings in the camera, so let me get back up here back in a second. Awesome sauce. So I just had to recorrect some of my settings on the camera, and we can keep on rolling. So let's pop you guys off. I want to show you some of the snakes we're not going to be cleaning today because I already got their cages good and cleaned out. So over here in this ginormous enclosure, we got old Sniper, the pit viper. He's doing good. A little update for you guys. He ain't doing nothing, just chilling in his little water bowl, basking, soaking. We got a little bit of snake shit up here with the milk snake enclosure. Baby is getting big as usual. We got another one over here, and then we got the parent copperheads. They're doing good. They're living their best life. We haven't had any babies yet, so we're still waiting on that to see what we can do. And we got an empty enclosure up here, and then we got our 2 rattlesnakes. We got our timber rattlesnake and our eastern diamondback rattlesnake over here. I'm waiting on them to breed. Hopefully this year or maybe next year they'll breed and produce some babies so we can sell those off, and then we'll be doing great for the channel if we can manage to do that, because these bat wings that we're going to produce, I mean, can't even really, you know, just, you know, just like that. And then down here we got our other eastern diamondback. She's decided to go in her little hide. We got to try to get her some food today. And over here, dude, we got cages everywhere. That one's empty up top. We got an empty one there. We got this whole empty one. These are some of the older enclosures I used to keep them in before I got the reptile habitats enclosure. Make sure you guys check out that video as well. And our pygmy rattlesnake, he's in there, but he's hiding. So let's move you guys on over. These guys ain't got the lights on just because it's already off of that. I just cut them on just for you guys to really see, so I don't really want to mess with them too much. Our ball pythons, still got our ball pythons, they're doing their thing. And I'm working on some other little stuff like over here. And then we got our other timber rattlesnake over here doing her thing. She's in her little house, and you guys can see her. And then we got our whole mouse breeding section, which I already cleaned these out last week. If you guys seen the mouse breeding video from this week, that was pretty good one. I loved enjoying doing the history and stuff of the mice. Getting kind of long with the videos though, so I might have to try to shorten them up for being such a long video. We got plenty of mice though. Let's see, I think this one has some babies. Or not. Or not. Oh, here we are. Baby Mises. Yes, baby Mises. Good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll pull out some venomous snakes and we'll go ahead and get these things cleaned out real quick. Then we can switch over to messing with the four-wheeler, and I'll show you guys what that's going to be like and what our first step in restoring that is going to be. So I hope you guys enjoy the four-wheeler stuff as well, because I just figured that'd be something else to add along with the channel to try to get us out herping a little bit more, so we can get out into those little further areas and not get so tired walking to those areas to get to them. Because that's where the killer is whenever you're hiking things, because you got to go way out there to find snakes sometimes. But sometimes you don't, you know, give or take. Let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and get this top off this enclosure, and then we can try to get our timber rattlesnake friend out of here and into our holding receptacle off to the side here. And we should be good. Now, don't judge because of the types of enclosures that I use to keep some of my venomous reptiles. A lot of them, I have them in our front locking enclosures, and some of them I keep inside of these little aquariums. Just because, like, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. Like, if you feel safe keeping them in here. Me personally, it does not really bother me that much to keep them in these style enclosures, because they're pretty secure. I know I've never had an escape out of these. But would I recommend somebody to keep these in here? No. Definitely use your locking enclosures. But, you know, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do. But I would highly recommend against not doing that. So now we got to get our snake friend out of here, like so. Get him by that back half of that tail. And we'll slowly lift him out of here. And get him into the bucket like so. Got to be quick and fast. Sometimes tailing them is a better option. Sometimes it isn't. That moment, I just went ahead and did what I had to do, so that way we can get him into a secure container to get him safely cleaned out. So now we need to put us on some gloves. But I feel like one of the biggest things with working with venomous snakes is that you have to always stay calm. It can get exhilarating dealing with venomous reptiles. Believe me, I know. I do it every single day. But if you don't keep your cool and understand and watch the animals, see what they're doing, and be able to react in a moment's notice in case something was to go awry, then you definitely need to keep venomous snakes. Like, I enjoy the thrill of keeping them. I enjoy the species in general because I thoroughly find them, like, you know, just interesting in general. But overall, you know, the safety factor is the biggest thing with keeping all your venomous reptiles. So, grab my makeshift trash bag and we'll get all this poop stuff out of here, give them some fresh water, and we'll keep it on rolling. Sorry, my beard gets in the way and muffle the microphone. I'll try to remember to keep it pulled down a little bit. But this is just part of the usual maintenance that you kind of have to do with a lot of this stuff. I won't bore you guys too much with all the particulars of cleaning and things. Like even like with these little rocks and all. I like using these rocks in here because they do retain heat really well. And they're not going to burn the snake because there's not any heat being added to it. They're just absorbing the heat from the radiant light that I have above. And it helps keep them warm. And I've noticed that the snakes really enjoy them. At least the timber rattlesnakes, which are the only ones I really keep like this, because they like to live in rock crevices and things. They kind of live in that in the wild. They can make a huge mess. Throwing the spicy meatballs everywhere, that's fine. Overall, pretty easy way to get some heat in the area. get them to hold up. Cool. All right, so I'll put these rocks back in here and let's get this snake back in and we'll fill his water bowl up. And we'll be good to go. And then we'll show you some other snakes that we got here, the ball pythons. It should be Gucci. All right, we got our water container. Let's go ahead and fill that up. And then a lot of times with this daily maintenance, I always come in, like a lot of people forget to mist their enclosures, things like that. So I always come in with a good misting. Another thing about rocks, if you're going to get rocks, make sure they're not wet whenever you get them. They have to dry out for a very, very long time. Because if they don't dry out, if you don't know, wet rocks, whenever you put them to hot, fire, or warmth, they tend to crack and break and pop. So definitely don't want that. So we'll do this, we'll fill this water bowl up. And these little sprayers, I'll use chemical sprayers for a lot of different things. I have 3 or 4 different ones. This one I fill up with straight water and I'll put a little bit of my Reptisafe in there. A lot of the stuff I mentioned in the videos, you can always get down in the description as well. Because that's what I like to do, man. I like to make sure my reptiles have the utmost care that they deserve and need, including fresh water. Because water is a huge deal when keeping reptiles and amphibians, if you know what I mean. Coolio. Just want to make sure we still recording and still rolling and going. Go ahead and get our snake friend out of here with our snake hook, and then we can get him back in his enclosure, and then he'll be good to go for another week or so. I just don't like having poop in here, and if you spot clean more often, you can actually get more out of your bedding. Now with that snake freaking out like he did, he's not gonna freak out as much now as he did before. And then see, we just finessed them right back in. Just like that. All right, so let's move on to another species. I'll pull them out, let you see some of the other snakes we're gonna work with today. And that's pretty much it for our usual cage cleaning at Josue's Exotics. All right, so to give you guys a little bit of an up close and personal look of the ball python, I decided to pull one of the cooler ones out in my opinion. This is the albino spider ball python that I've had since he was a newborn. Probably around 1, 2 years, I'd say 2 to 3 years old at this point. But pretty decent sized male ball python. Beautiful species. The spider gene is known to have some neurological defects and things like that, but this one is actually pretty decent, I would say. See here, there we go, cool. But yeah, he's a pretty awesome snake. I've had him for a very, very long time. This is the Python regius. It's just another python species that comes from Western Africa. They live in a lot of termite mounds, and they're pretty awesome species of snake if you want to get into keeping reptiles in general, because they're a very great beginner. If you go on YouTube, this is what you'll find a lot of your more common videos and stuff on is your ball pythons and your corn snakes. So I feel like everybody should have a ball python in their collection, even if it's just 1, maybe 2, because you can't really just stop at 1. So I got 3 personally, but my very first one was a normal ball python. Then I got a second one that was gifted to me, and then I bought this one for like, I don't know, like 300 bucks, something like that, $200-300. And I love this little guy ever since, because I wanted to have something albino in my collection in general. So that's why I got this little guy. So I'll go ahead and put him back, and we'll get him back into his cage so you guys have seen a ball python. And I may pull out one of the little bit bigger ones that I had, probably the OG original, or we still gotta get the timber rattlesnake out and get his cage clean. Then we'll move on to the 4-wheeler stuff. So here you go, guys, one more good look at the ball python. So this, guys, is the four-wheeler in question. The Shenzhou or whatever it is, but it's a 250cc little four-wheeler. It needs a little bit of TLC, but I feel like this is something that'll be doable, and it'd be a good restoration project for me to do along with my stepson, so that way we can hang out and do some stuff as well, and it'll get us back in the woods so we can go find us some critters a little bit further out there. But nevertheless, we're gonna get started, and I think the first thing we're gonna do is pop the wheels off. We're gonna make sure we change out the valve stems and the wheels down here, because we do need to put some air in them. We'll see if they got inner tubes in them and figure out kind of what we're working with, and then we'll spray paint them, get them back cleaned up, and then we'll work on something else, and over the next couple weeks you'll see this thing get transformed. So a little bit by little, we'll get it on together, because I've got the lawnmower, so we'll move on with this. So while we're getting started, some of the things to make things a little bit easier, I grabbed a couple tools. One, we're gonna be using a jack stand. I mean, it don't really matter where you get them from, but a jack stand would be crucial. With four-wheelers, they're not super duper heavy, so this one I can probably pick up. And I'm just gonna sit on the jack stand so we can get this tire off the ground a little bit and be able to work with it. All right, easy peasy. Now we got that kind of off the ground. We can get our impact, and we can get us some sockets. Get this thing off. Should be something like this. Yeah, see, that'll work. All right, so with any good project, guys, you gotta have some tools and things. And me, I like to use Harbor Freight for a lot of the things that I work on. So Harbor Freight, if you don't know, is a pretty good supplier of tools. They may not sell the most high quality of tools, but they'll sell you something to get you working on it. Good hobbyist place, I would say. I've gotten a lot of good stuff from them. Just like this Bauer brand with the impact with the battery. Good stuff, man. Bust them lug nuts loose on this thing like it ain't nothing. A little rusted too, so hopefully we don't break a stud. Mess around with these. Look at that. Got the tire off, and with a tire off we can inspect a couple things, see kind of like what's really behind here, because we got to really clean all this out anyway, because we got some brake lines. Looks like it goes down here to a caliper, to something that rotates this assembly here. This thing is not four-wheel drive, which, if you don't know, a lot of your four-wheelers aren't four-wheel drive. Well, you can get them in four-wheel drive, but some are two-wheel drive like this one. So all the power is just gonna be going straight to the rear wheel. So this just does a lot of steering. So this is just gonna be a hub assembly piece with probably some little drum shoes in the middle, I'm assuming. But let's see about getting some more tools. We'll get this tire popped off and make sure we get something to put our lug nuts in so we don't lose them. So moving down here, guys, we will see about getting the rim and tire separated. So for this, you're going to need to have what is called a tire spoon of some sort. So that way you can get these rims off the tires, because we need to actually paint these rims. Well, we may not actually need to paint them. We might just paint them after we pop them back on here. I think that's what we're gonna do. So I don't necessarily, well, I guess I need to change the valve stem. So yeah, we need to pop, okay. All right, guys, so Moving down here, we got to do one thing. We got to get the tire off of the rim here. So to do that, we use what's called a tire spoon, and that helps separate your rim from your tire. And you just kind of got to get it down in the lip here. And they sell multiple different ones too, so having two of them helps you to get it because you kind of want to work it. These little small tires can be kind of a pain to kind of work off. But slowly but surely, the old tire will come off the old rim here. Well, so moving on down here, I just want to show you guys a little bit what we're going to be doing. We want to go ahead and replace this valve stem and put us in something different. So I want to take a look at where this valve stem is located at and see if I can't get it without having to take this whole tire off, because we're going to try to keep these tires for a little bit longer until we have to replace these, because we don't even know if this four-wheeler runs yet or not. So let me go grab my tire stems, and these should work, because we're definitely going to replace the ones on the front with some new metal ones. And I don't know, I particularly like these. They're not bad. Normally, I just break them off because they'll come off pretty easy, just kind of like that. So, no big deal. Got that out. Because they're more than likely going to leak, especially with an older tire like this. You just kind of want to do that, because I was going to take the tire off the rim, kind of show you guys how to do that, but it really ain't necessary. But what we'll do with this is a snap-in tire valve. They call it, not snap-in, but it's just a tire valve that you can replace with a lot of different things, from your small tires and big ones. This one comes with a couple washers and a couple nuts, and then it's got one that you can put on the other side. And so luckily, we could get to this one pretty easy. We should just be able to slide this new valve stem in like that. And then we can put our sealing piece here, like so. Put our flange here. Boom. Sometimes you may have a little issue kind of getting this thing to seat down in there, but you definitely want to get that on there, because that really helps to seal this thing in my opinion. There we go. And we got it started, a couple threads, and then we can tighten that guy on up. We'll be Gucci. So next up, which I would not recommend to do, is try to reseal and reset your tire back onto your rim. To do this, a lot of things you can do. Try to fill it up with air one way, or you could try to do what I'm about to do, a little bit more fun way, but also a little more dangerous. So I think I need some safety glasses for all this, just to be on the safe side in case we blow ourselves up. So YouTube don't demonetize me for this, but this is what you got to do. So get you a can of good old starting fluid or ether, kind of want to do, you don't really want to do a lot of that stuff. That stuff is pretty fucking flammable. Whoa! Whoa! And just like that, our tire is on the rim. Always gets me every time, man. But you see that the tire kind of sunk in on itself. That's because whenever you set the fire to it, the fire goes inside the tire and it's burning up all the oxygen inside the tire. So you kind of need to wait make sure but I think we do have a little bit of a leak in the tire, so we'll see what we can do. I'm gonna grab my air compressor. We'll pop some air in there real quick and see what happens. So don't mind the noise, but see if this thing will take some air. We probably don't need to fill this thing up all the way, just because, you know, being an old tire, it hasn't really been inflated for a while, so we probably just need to kind of let it stretch out and get back to its normal shape for a little while. So, it seems like it's getting some air in it and holding, so that's good. And we need to check and see what the max rating, and that's another thing, guys. Each tire always has that written on it somewhere. And this says 20 PSI max. So let me get my handy dandy tire gauge over here just to kind of gauge and see where we're at. Nothing. So we definitely need to put some more air in it. And you always want to check as you're going. This thing still ain't got no air in it. That's crazy. It's not registering any air, at least. Cool. We got about almost 10 PSI. That's all we're gonna really pump it up to is 10. And we're gonna let it kind of sit there where it's at. We'll see if this thing will hold some air in it, and then we'll pump it up the rest of the way once we kind of gauge where we're at with that. So to paint this thing, what we're gonna do is I have a couple of strips to help get this thing ready for painting, and I'm gonna probably tape off a couple things. This is just kind of like a Scotch-Brite pad. This is just to kind of help level everything out a little bit, make sure we're getting some good flat spots, and we'll knock off anything that's not real stuck on there.
This would be real good for a good paint job on these things, because this is a pretty good paint that I'm using that fills in for gaps and cracks and things. So we should be good. Now the inside is what I was more worried about here. See, this is why it's important. You can see all that stuff, we gotta get all this out. Because the paint is not gonna stick to that. Good stuff, good stuff. And with these tires, I'm probably just gonna do one of them at a time, so that way I can kind of show you guys like step-by-step process of what we're gonna go through to really get this thing up and going. Because after I get these things painted, I might even wash them first. I'll give them a good washing first, pressure washing, or at least a rinse off here. And then we'll go from there. So that thing is good and scraped and scrubbed out. Seems to be holding air. Look at that. Good stuff. So we got our tire pumped up. We got it all cleaned off on both sides with our angle grinder, and I used a little bit of a rust remover wheel. And what I had an ingenious idea of doing, which I'm sure somebody's probably done before, to paint this thing, instead of using a whole bunch of tape, why don't we just put this little tire in a freaking trash bag here, if I can get it. All the way around in here, because it should fit. What if I do that? I'll bring it back over here a little bit. Only thing we care about is a little bit of rim space here, and I think that we can make that work. I think that we can fold this thing just right, get it to sit. Just good enough so we can paint this thing. So what we're going to be using today is the Krylon Fusion all-in-one paint and primer. Pretty good paint. So I like to use this thing for a lot of different stuff. So this whole ain't gonna be super perfect. So it's gonna be one of our first major resto jobs. So it'd be pretty cool if we get it pretty good, but you know, it ain't gotta be perfect. But these rims definitely need some paint on them, for sure. And I think what I'm gonna do is we will paint one side and we'll just go side to side with it. We'll make sure we shake this can up real good. And just like that, guys, paint it. Which I might go get the tape this time, because this was not as good as I hoped it would go, but you know, trial and error. Trial and error. So we're gonna set this one off to the side and we'll move on to another one, but that's pretty much gonna be the process. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of them done, and then we'll get them back on the four-wheeler, and then we'll show you what they look like after they get done. But I think that's gonna be a pretty awesome looking color for these rims. All right guys, so on another note, I did get the tires back on the rims, but I used the starting fluid and there happened to be a little bit of a defect in the tire, so that thing blew out. So we do got one tire that's good, so I'll go and get that mounted back on after I soak these guys in a little bit of vinegar, and I'll get them out in the morning and put that thing back on. But that ends the video for this week's update on the four-wheeler, so we'll go ahead, call it a day guys. See you on the next episode.